Hi, it's Lynn Pierce, and I was thinking about it and I thought, everything my entire life, almost from the time I was born, is what led me to do this. I was sick a lot as a kid. I almost died when I was 2, and then when I was 5, I was diagnosed with tuberculosis and had to go live in a sanitarium for kids who had TB. And it was just a progression of things my whole childhood, and then various things happened, jumping ahead to being diagnosed with breast cancer at 43. I forgot for a minute if I was 42 or 43. 43, it was right after my 43rd birthday. And so there were a lot of health factors that contributed. I grew up in Wisconsin, where there are plenty of vegetables and fruits and lots of different foods to eat. I just happened to grow up in a family that only ate meat and potatoes, and it was mostly beef and potatoes. Almost no vegetables or fruit or salads or anything like that. I never even tasted pizza until I was 16. So really a very plain and unhealthy, restricted diet. So when I got out on my own and I was in my early 20s, I realized that I had been really unhealthy. So I started to investigate health and nutrition, and I went way from one side to the other side. I don't know if you remember a book back, must have been 1980 maybe, or 81, called Life Extensions. It was by Lynn Pierce, and I can't remember what the woman's name was, but if I remember correctly, they were both PhDs. And even in paperback, the book was like this thick. It was huge. And I read that book from cover to cover. I highlighted it. I started taking a whole kitchen counter full of supplements. Some of them tasted absolutely horrible. But because I understood what the health benefits were, even though I was in my 20s, I started taking them. So from there, my interest went to mind-body connection, because since I was 16, I had been studying psychology, personal growth, really what makes people who they are and what makes them change, because I wanted a life different than the path I saw predestined for me if I stayed in Wisconsin and stayed on the path that I saw. So at 16, I made the conscious decision that I wanted to create my life. And to do that, I needed books. Books were the only help I knew that I could get. So that was my solitary path. And from, when was that? From 1972 until the last less than 20 years, it was a solitary path of personal growth that I was on alone, with books and Nightingale Conant tapes and things like that. So the body connection, spirituality, personal growth, human development, what makes people who they are, what makes them change, all of that went into my philosophy of life and became part of what I call an ageless lifestyle. Because once I was over 50 in my business, where in my business that was on lynnpierce.com and other sites before that started in 2001, I taught personal growth, spirituality, and business courses. I had a sales system that helps people sell that don't consider themselves to be salespeople or are introverted like me, quiet and introspective, to get out there and do what they need to do. And then I started teaching people how to create information products and seminars and other types of mentoring programs and do all the things that I had done, because I had done it all so quickly that people asked me to show them how to do the same thing. So I started the Women's Business Empowerment Summit and other seminars that I taught. So all that, all of my knowledge really from birth to now 61 is encompassed in agelesslifestyleafter50.com. Probably the building blocks that I see for someone being ageless and having an ageless life and business. And the ageless business part, I consider to be definitely a lifestyle business. I had a lifestyle business when I was in my 20s, and there was no such thing. And now it's also a laptop business, which when I started there weren't anything like that. So those things have been something that I instinctually did since I was in my 20s. I created my life consciously starting at 16. I didn't know then that I was creating a vision for my life. I just did it. It needed to be done, and I did it. And so I created a plan, and I worked the plan, and I did what I said I was going to do. And then when I was successful in my real estate career, and I thought, hey, wait a minute, I don't like the snow, I don't like the cold, what am I doing here in Wisconsin? I asked myself great questions, and I came up with the answers. And I ended up moving to Florida and selling real estate there. And I moved from resort area to resort area in many different states before coming to Mexico in 1991. And that was my first experience as an expat. And back then I was living in a dusty little fishing village that only had one paved road and one stoplight. No phones, no TV, mail, all that stuff. I mean, we were really isolated. And so I have the experience of also being in an expat and living in another country. Of course, now that I'm back here, and I've been back for, I guess, 6 years now, things are much different now than they were back in the 90s because there's this thing like the internet. So the cool thing is that for the time that I started my business in 2001, I think I bought my first laptop in 2003, and I took that on vacation with me. I took it everywhere. I felt creative when I was traveling, so I wanted to write. I created programs. I wrote sales copy. I did all of that when I was traveling, and so it really was a laptop lifestyle for me because I was traveling, I guess 10 to 12 weeks a year on average, and that's pretty much how I've always set up my lifestyle, is to take a lot of vacations. And it wasn't unusual for me to go to China for 3 weeks, to go to Europe for 6 weeks, even to go to Hawaii for 3 weeks a couple times a year. So those are the kind of things that I always liked to do, was do a lot of traveling. I loved what I did for work, so I liked working while I was traveling. And to me, that's a lifestyle that is ageless. It's something that if you're living your passion and life purpose, you can continue to do it not only in your 60s and 70s, but in your 80s and 90s and beyond. If you still feel like you have something to contribute to the world, that's really all that's required. Things are getting so much easier now as far as how you can do it. Literally, I'm sitting here with my cell phone on data because my Wi-Fi in my own house isn't good enough to do consistent video on without it pixelating. So I have this $14 selfie stick that I put my phone on, and I sit here and I can talk to people from all over the world. It's so easy now to share information, to share knowledge, to answer questions for people, to help people with things they need help with, whether it's cooking or their mindset, their lifestyle, their business, whatever it is. So if you feel like you have something to offer, there are no limitations, not location, not age, nothing. So just know that you can have an ageless life in business at whatever age you're starting. There's never a time that you say, wow, I wish they would have had that when I was younger, because it doesn't matter. As far as I'm concerned, the older we are, the more knowledge we have to share. Because not only do we have our life and business knowledge to share for all those years, but we have a much deeper perspective to share it from because of our age. We can see things differently than someone that's half our age and doesn't have the life experience. So don't ever feel like you don't have anything left to contribute or that it's past your time, because it's not. So if you're looking to make a shift in your business, if you're an empty nester and now you're wondering what it is that it's time for you to do and you're not quite sure, if you're transitioning from a corporate job and looking for something else to do because you're not ready for retirement and you feel like you've got that nagging little voice in your head saying there's something else, I just don't know what it is. The place that I would start would be to create a vision for your life. I just feel like right now a whole lot of people are at a place in their life where what they need is to create an ageless vision for their life. If you need any help or have any questions, I'm happy to listen. You can Facebook message me, or if you're on my email, or you see this on YouTube, however it is that we're connected, feel free to reach out. I am always happy to help. So I hope this has given you a little insight into who I am if you didn't know before, what Ageless Lifestyle is all about, and the fact that whatever it is that you want to do, whatever that little voice is that you hear inside your head telling you there's something else, that's because there is. And I want you to know that it's never too late. You can start right now. This is Lynn Pierce with agelesslifestyleafter50.com. Thanks. Bye.